One of the things that I have been trying to do is to work through the Sermon on the Mount, looking at the Greek and especially the grammar from an inductive perspective. I would invite anyone that would like to join in this video to have a Greek New Testament and have it open and follow me along. I'm going to try to do it by memory, challenging my own, my own memory. I started Greek many years ago, probably about 60 years ago, and I'm a retired seminary professor of Hebrew scriptures and Old Testament, but I enjoy original languages. So I'm going to be working out of my Greek New Testament, reading it, and then translating it, and challenging myself. And I would encourage anyone that would like to join me to have your Greek New Testament open, excuse me, and follow me along as we go through. I'll read it in Greek, translate it, look at key grammatical points linguistically, and then talk about the interpretation verse by verse. So we worked our way up through verse 20. Now we come to where the Lord is going to choose 6 areas and talk about them. The area of anger, adultery, divorce, oaths, retaliation, and loving of enemies in chapter 5. I've written a commentary on this, but I did not go through each word in the Greek. So we begin. Ekusate hate erethe tois archaiois, ou phanuses, hadan phanuse, henekas estai te chryse. I would encourage you to pronounce the Greek after me. I think languages should always be read aloud. So then as we begin, you have heard. Ekusata is an aorist indicative active, second person plural from akuo. Notice the sigma gives away as an aorist. And here we have an eta. We had lengthened the alpha, akuo, to an eta in this aorist tense. So you have heard, hate, conjunction, that it was said. Erethe is from the root lego. It's an aorist indicative passive, third person singular from lego. You have heard that it was said by those of old, by those older, can I say, rabbinic rabbis and others, and their point of view. And so Jesus goes on to say, ou phanuses, you shall not murder. Notice, phanuo is the verb, and it's a future indicative active, second person singular from phanuo. And basically what Jesus now will do, he is taking the 10 Commandments and he's going to bring out the inner meaning of even harboring hatred in your heart. Don't even do that. Not only do not murder or do violence, but don't even think violence. And everything will be taken to the interior as well, both ends. So Jesus then goes on, Hasdan phonuse, enekas estai te chryse. Whosoever should murder shall be liable for the judgment. Notice has is a relative pronoun, nominative, masculine, singular. We have that indefinite particle in the on. And phanuse is from the verb phanuo, to murder or to do violence to another. Notice as we parse this, it is an aorist subjunctive third person singular from phanuo. So you shall not murder, and if you do, you shall be liable for the judgment. Notice estai is your future indicative active, third person singular from a me. So then he goes on, but I say to you. So Jesus now takes the 10 Commandments and he applies it internally. You don't even think hatred toward your neighbor. So you not only do not murder or do not do violence, but you don't even think hurtful things toward another. And that'll be true all the way through. You do not commit adultery. You don't even think adultery. So as Jesus goes on, in verse 22, ego delego humen hati pascha orgitsamenas to adelpho autu Henekas estai te chryse hastan epe to adelpho autu raka Henekas estai to sanedrio hastan epe more Henekas estai eis tein get anan tu puras. But I say to you, notice ego is your personal pronoun, I, and I say to you, lego is just your present indicative active, first person singular from lego, and to you is your dative, plural, from personal pronoun, in the dative plural. I say to you that everyone, notice pascha, all the one, and we bring the two together and we would translate it everyone who is angry, or to get samenas to adelpho autu. Everyone who is angry with his brother. Notice, or to get samenas is your present middle participle from orgizomai, nominative masculine singular, in the menos ending. So everyone who is angry with his brother, here we have the dative case in adelpho autu, followed by the genitive, shall be liable for the judgment. But whosoever shall say, and we should say whosoever shall say, and notice epe, hasdan epe, epe is your aorist subjunctive, third person singular from lego. Notice in that verb, apon is your second aorist, and here with the eta iota subscript, we're looking at a subjunctive. So whosoever should say to his brother, raka. Raka is an Aramaic word meaning something like empty-headed one, shall be liable for the Sanhedrin. Notice Sanhedrin, Sanhedriu, is again your dative case. So you'll be liable for the high court, is what Jesus is saying. If you call someone a blockhead, it's like saying to someone, you're stupid, you're a blockhead, you're not smart. But whosoever shall say, hasdan epe, again, epe is your aorist subjunctive, third person singular from lego, more. More, I believe, looks more deeper at attacking in a contemptuous way the character of a person. Fool. It's like saying, you foolish scoundrel. So whosoever does that, then showing hatred in his heart has committed violence against one's neighbor. That's what Jesus is saying, and shall be liable unto gehinon to puras. By the way, gehinon is from the Hebrew ge, the Hinnon, the valley of Hinnon. That's where garbage was burned outside continually, and it's looking at the final lake of fire. So whosoever shall say raka, which is empty-headed one, shall be liable for the Sanhedrin. But whosoever shall say fool, looking at a person's heart, it's like saying, as we said, you scoundrel, shall be liable for that Gehinnom of fire, looking at the final judgment. Garbage burning outside of Jerusalem in the valley of Gehinnom becomes a symbol of that final judgment of the lake of fire. Then as we move on to 23, an un prosperes ta doransu epita thusiasterion kake nestes hati adelphasu eche ti katasu. Therefore, if you bring your gift unto the altar, and there you remember, or to put it upon the altar, and there you remember that your brother is having a certain thing against you, go make it right, is what Jesus will be saying. Notice an is introducing a third, actually a third conditional clause, if therefore, followed by the subjunctive prosperes, prosperes, if therefore you should bring. Notice it's from prospero, it is your present subjunctive, second person singular from prospero. You shall bring, if you bring your gift upon the altar. P takes the accusative case here in ta thusiasterion, which is accusative, neuter accusative. And there you should be reminded. Notice the root is mimneskamai. Mnestes is your aorist subjunctive passive, second person singular. And remember, in your aorist passive, lutho, luthes, luthe, and so forth, this is following the pattern, if we follow luo, of luthes. So, and there, you should be reminded from mimneskamai that your brother is having a certain thing against you. Notice again, kata here takes the genitive case, followed by the second person personal pronoun su. So if your brother is having, and you think your brother is having something against you, then go, leave there your gift before the altar. Aphes ake tadoran su imprasten tu thusiasteriu kai hupage proton dia lagethe to adelpho su kai tate althon prospera tadoran su. Leave there your gift before the altar, and go first be reconciled to your brother, and then when you come, present your gift. Notice aphes is your aorist imperative, second person singular, from aphemai, meaning to leave. So leave there, aphiteme, excuse me, aphiteme. So leave there your gift before the altar. Notice imprasten is taking the genitive case, the preposition, and then go, hupaga. Hupaga is from hupago. It is your present imperative second person singular from hupago. So depart first and be reconciled to your brother. Notice dialogethem is from the root dialasomai, to reconcile. And here we have an aorist imperative passive, second person singular. So be reconciled to your brother. And again, we have the dative case in to adelphosu. And then when you come, notice kaitate elthon Elthon is from erkamai. It is your second aorist participle, nominative masculine singular from erkamai. When you come, then present your gift. Prosfero is the root. Again, we have a present imperative, second masculine singular from prosfero. Then present your gift. In other words, make things right before you carry out an act of worship. So Jesus is going to the interior. In other words, you could have an interior attitude that would be doing violence to your brother in your mind. And Christ is saying, no, go make it right first, then come and offer your gift. And so in verse 25, he continues. Notice, iste eunaon to antidikosu taku, chaos chatu emet autu inte chado. Me potese parado ha antidikas to krete, kai ha kretes to huperete, kai es fulaken plethese. That is, be agreeing with your adversary quickly as you are with him on the road, on the way, lest the adversary deliver you to the judge, and the judge to the attendant or minister, and you should be cast into prison. In other words, make things right on your way to court. Don't wait till you get to court, Jesus is saying. And notice, iste is your present imperative, second person singular from eimi. So be agreeing. Eunaon is from eunaeo, a contract verb, present active participle, nominative masculine singular from eunaeo. So be agreeing. It's a periphrastic use of the participle here. Be agreeing with your adversary quickly. While, chaos chatu means as or while. A is your present indicative active, second person singular from eimi. Eimi, a, esten. So while you are with him on the road. In other words, on your way to court, make it right. Lest your adversary deliver you over. And notice, parado is your aorist subjunctive, third masculine singular from paradidomi. We think of that change of stem in your aorist subjunctive form here. So lest he, the adversary, deliver you over to the judge, and the judge to the minister, that is the attendant, and you shall be cast into prison. Notice, kai eis phulagen blethese. Blethese is from balo, to cast. And notice here we have a future indicative passive, second person singular from balo. That theta eta sigma gives it away as a future indicative passive. You think of luo, luthesamai, luthese, luthesatai, luthesamatha, luthesiste, luthesantai, and so forth. So here we have blethese. So it is a future passive, second person singular from balo. So lest you then, if you don't make it right, shall be cast into prison. Amen, verily I say to you, amen lego soi, u me excelthes akathen, chaosan apados, tan escatan kadrante. That is, verily I say to you, you shall not come out from there until you have delivered over the last kadran. We can translate the last penny. Now notice, Lego, again, is just your present indicative active, first person singular from Lego. Verily I say to you, you shall not come out. Notice double negative, you shall not surely. Excelthes. You shall not surely come out. Excelthes is from exergamai. Again, it is a subjunctive, the second person singular of exergamai, excelthes. You shall in no wise come out from there until you have delivered over. Apodidomi is the root, and apodos, again, is the subjunctive, aorist subjunctive, second person singular from apodidomi. Until you have delivered over the last. And quadrantane is, it really would be equivalent, many feel, to 1.5 cents. So you could translate this noun, quadrantane, as penny, until you have paid the last penny. So what is Jesus teaching? How would we summarize it? He is saying, first of all, I've come to go beyond that, even of the scribes and the Pharisees. I'm going to bring out the interior meaning of the law, and that is, you have heard, you shall not murder. And that's true, or you'll be in danger of the judgment. But I'm adding an interior part of that, not only you shall not murder or do violence to another, but don't even think violence. And don't become angry and call your neighbor a fool. Otherwise, you're in danger of facing the eternal judgment of God. And so Jesus is really looking at the inner attitude in the Sermon on the Mount. And we're going to see that all the way through as we'll look even at adultery. Don't even think adultery. So then, finally, as you're going to court, he said, make it right before you get there. And furthermore, if you're going to offer a gift and you remember that your brother has something against you, go make it right and then offer your worship. How sad it is many times that Christians will worship even and have aught against their brother or someone that they really are totally upset with. And Jesus is saying, make it right, and then come and have the Lord's Supper. I'll never forget, years ago, as a pastor, we were having the Lord's Supper, and there were two brothers, and one of them couldn't stand the other. And so as we were having the Lord's Supper, the one brother was giving out the Lord's Supper, and he tried to give it to the other brother who had a mental bad attitude about him, and he refused to take it. After the service, he said to me, Pastor, you bring me the Lord's Supper. I'm not going to take it from my brother. And I had to tell him, I can't do that. You have to have an attitude of forgiveness toward your brother. And you can't be harboring in your heart something against your brother and freely take of the Lord's Supper. So I think that's what Jesus is talking about. I think he's saying you need to look at the interior heart and make sure that it is right as well as the exterior. Because as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. The heart is so important. The mind is so important. What we think is so critical, Jesus is saying. So we need to not harbor any kind of hatred or anger toward anyone in our mind and in our heart. What a beautiful statement that Jesus is encouraging his followers who are his disciples to be like in this wonderful, wonderful Sermon on the Mount.